exciting day today talking about food fears and how to address it. And I think there were a few take-homes, I would say, that were the benefit of today. The first one would be challenging people's existing thinking. So by presenting some new data, some people from different backgrounds to say, you know what, let's reframe our existing paradigms around food and fears. The second piece would be just the value of assembling the food system to have this discussion, to say this is a journey, this commitment to public trust. You can't learn how to play hockey the first day. We need ongoing continuous improvement, and today was definitely a big step in the right direction. So on this journey to public trust, it definitely requires a long-term commitment and collaboration and investment, both in people time and dollars from the whole supply chain. So why are we having a hard time with this? You know, we're saying public trust needs to be earned, it's a business risk that needs to be addressed. You know, why is this just not happening, you know, like 1, 2, 3? And I think my insight on it would be the supply chain was designed for competition, not collaboration. So we have fierce competitors in various spaces, including from within their own supply chain and or against supply chains. And in this case, we're asking the supply chain to be collaborative, not competitive. And it's a whole new ballgame. So we're putting values into the value chain in a place that's used to commodities and trading and competitions and secrets. So it's sometimes frustrating that we're not moving fast enough, far enough, but it's really not surprising when we look at where we've come from. Today was definitely a big step in improving our understanding of what is really motivating people's thinking and decisions. So we've been very much, and myself included, focused on the data, and you know, if we can have a logical conversation, you know, you'll come around to my way of thinking if I give you more facts. And so today for me was definitely a bit of a sea change in how we think about that, to say if we don't address people's values first and what's really driving their behavior, then we're not going to change the situation. So today's the social listening report we released today mapped out what people were actually saying online, which is really fascinating. It wasn't prompted with questions. I think the surprise there was the volume of conversations in certain topics that maybe people in agriculture weren't even aware of and definitely weren't participating in. So, you know, if 2.5 million people are talking about climate change, but people in agriculture are talking about the benefits of farming and the environment, you're not even in the space. So I would say a couple of things. The level and the volume of conversations on some topics are really huge that we underestimated, and then what people are talking about and the words that they're using that we aren't even in the right conversation was a big aha moment for me. I was surprised that GMOs was the top of the list of those 4 of the concerns. I would have picked antibiotics. I would have thought that would have been more talked about. But again, each of us have our own filter around what we see on social and our news feed and even our Google searches. So you have your own filter. So that one surprised me. I was most surprised that climate change was as high as it was as it related to farming. I had no idea that that was the level of conversation, which is the point of you manage what you measure, right? So until today, we didn't know those numbers. So now we know. Now the onus is on us to now we know better, can we do better? So I would say if you look at our existing Canadian Centre for Food Integrity Public Trust research around connecting with values first and then facts second is absolutely still the base. And then what are the values and how people view information is second. Then today's work on social listening is the next level, another layer to say, okay, what are they actually talking about and what topics and what words are they using? So if you kind of layer it, values, what's driving people's behavior, and then what are they talking about and what words are they using to be sure we're in the right conversation. I think the first thing I would do is host a giant dinner party and invite all of Canada to come. So we're hosted by farmers, and invite the country to come and have a conversation about everything on our plate. And it's a conversation, not a monologue. So let's host a giant dinner party for the whole country, literally and virtually. That would be the first thing, because $1 billion is, you know, a fair amount of money. The second thing I would do is put some money into platforms like Best Food Facts that give credible experts a voice. We know people go online when they're Google searching, they're not finding credible experts. So I feel we have the vehicle, we just don't have the money to give it the voice it needs. Today, the data on the power of celebrity in influencing followers it shouldn't be underestimated. You know, so sometimes we may scoff at, you know, celebrities are going on an all fruit water diet or whatever the latest trend is. And, you know, the logical side is, you know, that's a crazy trend. The power of reaching 100 million people at a time should not be underestimated. It's also, I think, important to say when we ask Canadians who is credible and what they're looking for, it's accurate information about their food. So they They want accurate information, they're just not hearing it. So the time is now to step up to the bat and give Canadians the credible information they need. So the power of celebrity is complicated, but it's mostly you want to emulate them, you want to be like them. So in whatever shape or form that looks like. So if somebody who's super popular and rich and beautiful, who drives a fancy car and lives in several mansions, who doesn't want that? Many people do. So whatever they eat, whatever they wear, whatever dog they choose, you'll see people following that trend, and it's powerful. So they do have a big influence. But when we ask Canadians directly, do you feel a celebrity is a credible person on farming or food? Absolutely not. They're at the bottom of the list. So it's this, we need to flip the balance between, so celebrity has volume, no credibility. Farmers have credibility, no volume. So now, what are we going to do differently to flip that switch?